very secure blockchain, for example, that has been tested and proven and attacked, so that will probably have a very high rating for security. What are you getting for your investment? Is this usable? Is it a security? You know, a lot of times people make mistakes saying, oh, this ICO is super cool, they're gonna, I don't want to pick on any ridiculously bad idea because it might be a real person's idea, but they're gonna do something really, really stupid and it's gonna be great and make a bunch of money. Okay, maybe, but how do you know you're gonna get any of that? Could be a great idea, but if you don't participate in it, and that's the problem with a lot of these scammy utility tokens. Typically, utility tokens are either illegal securities or they've got really good lawyers where they've made it not a security, but the purpose in most of them isn't to have a utility or have anything that's useful for you to participate, it's for them to raise money. So the ICO people sit around and they say, let's raise a bunch of money, everybody's raising money, people are throwing all kinds of money at stupid things, we can raise $50 million. How do we do it? Call the lawyers. The lawyer says, don't be a security, man, that's big trouble. Make a utility coin. So then they go back and they say, okay, here's our plan, we're gonna put dog training on the blockchain, all right, how do we make it a utility? I know, we make a token, and you gotta pay for the token to get the dog training. Those aren't gonna work. It's essentially a roundabout way for people to avoid securities laws. Unless you really get any real utility, you're not getting anything. So what are you participating in for your investments beyond having a good idea? Same with accounting and legal. You know, how do you know how many tokens there are? Is this legal? Is it illegal? Maybe you don't care. Maybe it matters depending on how you're investing. Community management and team is really important. Who's managing it? Who's behind it? What are their technical creds? Is there a community? Is it a real community, or is it just marketing that's gone out and pushed a bunch of people into a get-rich-quick Telegram group? Is it a real community that's really rolling up their sleeves and developing, and building tools, and doing things around the technology? Or is it just a whole bunch of people talking about how they're going to get rich when it goes to the next, point in the ICO or whatever? So looking at who the community is. Earnings are another important one, and that's kind of basic in any equity type of thing. And again, this is where we see a disconnect between plans and ideas, and how is that going to affect you in your pocket. Once the project earns something, will it earn something? And then you have to follow the money. So when you're reading these white papers or marketing documents, it says we have a great idea for ICO this, which does dog training on the blockchain or whatever, and then you say that's a brilliant idea. Okay, how am I going to get money from that? So suppose they make $1 billion on their idea. Read the fine print. It doesn't mean your token's going to make anything. Your token may just be a worthless piece of digital nothing. And the company that issued, since you don't have equity, typically with tokens, they have, they make a lot of money. Like Oculus Rift, they did a fundraising thing for their VR headset, raised $8 million. They just kept the money, and then they used that, and then they got acquired by, I think it's Amazon. So supply and demand. Is the coin supply fixed? Is it limited? Personally, I like limited supplies like Bitcoin. How's the supply decided? Who issues more tokens? These kind of things. What is it used for? All right. If it's a utility token, you've got to really ask a super hard question. Is anybody going to use this? Is it really useful? Do you really need it? And will somebody else take an open source idea? Because if it's a truly great idea, somebody else may take an open source idea and issue the same thing. So I say, what is it going to be used for? Is it currency? Bitcoin Cash, a couple others are trying to be currency. That's a very, very different thing from an equity. It's a very different thing from a utility token. It's a very different thing from an API key. That's why you need some sort of common language that you can evaluate these kind of things. Because if you're saying the value of this is currency, people are going to use it for goods and services. They're going to use it for the same reasons that make a currency good: fungibility, usability, acceptability, durability, all these things that, the principles of money. That's super different from, I think this idea is going to do well and that will translate to my profits somehow in the token, or I think this API key or whatever, it's going to be railed or something. So I want to say, what is the usability? What is the industry backend, institutional backend? Who's working on it? Does it have any partners that are there? Big companies. That may be a bad thing, actually, depending. Do they have any JVs? Who are the actual people and everything behind it? Technical is really key also. With a huge number of digital assets, it's interesting. A lot of people jump into digital assets because they want exposure to blockchain, because they believe blockchain technology is going to be a good thing. I believe that as well. With many projects, particularly a lot of tokens and ICOs, they don't really have any technical details at all. They haven't invented anything. They just are using blockchain technology. They're using Ethereum typically, an ERC20 token to raise money. But that doesn't mean by participating in your token, you're participating in blockchain. It's like saying, if I buy a book on Amazon, I'm participating in the internet. You sort of are, but you're not going to generate profits from that. So it's important if you believe in the technology. Now, that may not matter. In some cases, you may say, this is so usable, I don't really care. I think it's going to be a good investment, even if it doesn't have unique technology. But in many cases, it makes sense to look and say, well, what are the real technical details of this? Is it just piggybacking on another project? Or is there anything unique about this particular project or blockchain? And will it give me the exposure that I want? If I want exposure to VR, maybe I go into a VR fund or something like that. Will it give me exposure into blockchain if that's what I'm looking for? X factor. In case I forgot anything, you add that in there. Be careful of that. You may say, something unique about it, something you like about the plan or the team or something like that. Those are, that's where you add anything. So then you take that, you take all 10, and you assign each of those your own value. So you say security. I think Bitcoin security is a 9. I think, depending on what coin you're rating, I think XYZ ICO security is a 4. You rate those and then you'll have a number. Hopefully analysts, I hope there's some analysts in the room, hopefully analysts will take this thing, use this as a tool. As I said, it's open source, it's free. Creative Commons, it's a gift. If you don't like it, you get your money back. It's free. So use it, and you can use it, and you're free to adapt it or whatever. I think it'd be nice if people have more common standard. So, if you use this tool, and just tweet it, say, here's a Spaces X analysis that we did, and I'll try and retweet it. Here's some more information. I'll cover a couple quick more things. I'm actually ahead of schedule. I talk sort of fast. So this is where you can find out about Spacesuit X. Chainstone Labs, there's not much there because it's mostly confidential. My company, Atlantic Financial. I'm on Facebook at Bruce Fenton. If you take out your phone, follow me on Facebook. I'm sorry, not Facebook, Twitter. Either one is fine. But Twitter, I tend to make more announcements and cover these things like Spacesuit X. Spacesuit X has its own site. Let's see, I got 2 minutes left. I'll talk real quickly about a coin that I'm working on. I helped found it. It's called Raven Coin, which is, I'm trying to get this word out as much as possible because the effort with this coin was to be a fair issuance. You can't buy it, you have to mine it, just like the old days. It's only mineable, totally fair issuance. It was announced in October and announced again and again several times. Finally released to mining on January 3rd, but that's called Raven Coin. You can